Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
I am the hammer. I am the sword in his hand. I am the gauntlet about his fist. I am the bane of his foes and the woes of the treacherous. I am the end.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Stephen Four. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, I know it's only been a week that I've missed, but damn it feels like longer.
Well, it's obviously good to have you back. We got a lot to talk about tonight, and I feel like we could use a little, expert opinion on things.
Oh, expert. You referring to X has been and spurt as drip under pressure?
Yep.
We use the term expert loosely. Obviously, you're an expert painter.
I mean, obviously, for anybody, stop what you're doing, even if you're in traffic, and try to look deeply into your radio to see whatever device you're listening to us from and try to see this beautiful exocrine I've been painting on tonight.
Juice has been doing more hobbying than I've ever seen him do in my life.
I mean, you've seen it. I thought about, I've got a new chest clock that we're doing in the Beats Lab and stuff like that. And thought about putting a chest clock on me and when I'm recording, see how much actual time I have in a model. When I put it down, stop it, and then come back to it. I'm excited. I have a problem too. I just went and got more Carnifexes, another Moloch, 3 to be exact, from Darren. Was at Hobbytown, USA in Spring Lake, Fayetteville, North Carolina day, and went in, and Darren was like, "Hey, by chance, do you have a Carnifex on sprue?" I was like, "Obviously, I have one of everything on sprue. They're stupid to me. I hate them." He's like, "Oh, do you want to trade?" I was like, "Obviously, what do you have? You want to get rid of your niche shit?" It's like, "I'll take 3 Carnifexes, dack it out with a Moloch." For what? I have no idea, but I have a problem.
So Juice has 40K psychosis. That's the That's the problem.
Nid psychosis.
Nid psychosis, absolutely. Because I'm a stickler. If I'm gonna run, dude, I am just mimicking everything. I have Malanthropes that are painted for my Kronos attachments. I am now painting Malanthropes for Kraken and Leviathan. I am gonna be that person. I am gonna have everything that color coats.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty ambitious.
It's just basically a ploy to give me a reason to keep buying. That's it.
Juice. Like any good substance abuse, you find a reason to keep going and never quitting.
That's right. That crack kept me alive. It wasn't, I never became sick until I gave up the crack.
Is that like how Bruce Wayne is the costume? Batman's the person?
I literally don't know what you're talking about. So, Rob, give us content. Don't force us to make small talk.
I mean, y'all could just talk about poop. It seems to work all the time.
It does. But Agents of Vect was used on me earlier today, so I can't poop until tomorrow.
Yo, let me tell you what. I got a gray poop story if we do need stupid banter, because damn it.
All right, let's talk about the new
there it
releases
is
for this week.
Till next week, if we have open space, tune in because poop story incoming.
So, Tabletop Market Watch, we got all sorts of new Age of Sigmar coming out. If you're into that Age of Sigmar sort of thing, on June 30th. So it is going on pre-order the 16th, but then it's going to take 2 weeks to get out because all the stores and such will be getting their demo copies this weekend. So you'll have a chance to actually mosey on down, check it out, put a pre-order in at your local game store, get it online, whichever is mo better for you. So quite a bit of releases coming out, starting with 4 easy to build releases. These are like the 4-man kind of box sets featuring new Stormcast along with the Night Haunts. So you've got 2 individual box sets for each one of those at $15 each, which isn't priced too bad. It's kind of like an add-on to their new starter that's coming out. It's called Soul Wars. I don't know if y'all seen those crazy like undead dudes with like swirly, ethereal like mists and things all over them, just looking all fresh, jumping all nimbly bimbly from gravestone to gravestone.
Rob, I felt like you could have described that whole thing without any of the drama. You could have been like, have you seen those undead guys with the swirling mist around them?
I'm a very visual.
Have
I
you
like
seen
to
the
talk with my
undead
hands.
models with the swirling mist around them? Rob, yes.
I actually was in a trance. I was staring at his hands and completely knew exactly what he was talking about without hearing the words.
I like how Kenny did it more like interpretive dance style.
He got his whole body into it.
Yeah, he really did. He closed his eyes and kind of like looked up at the sun, and it was very nice. It was very visual. I liked it. You're very good at that. You should work that into some of your videos. So the Soul Wars box is $160. It comes with 52 miniatures, very similar to what we saw with Dark Imperium. You do get the rule book and everything in it. Coming out at the same time is the rule book itself for $60. So it's like, what do you buy at that point? Do you spend the extra 100 and get all the minis? I don't know.
You always spend the extra 100 and get the minis.
52 minis for $100. I mean, do the math on that. It seems good priced.
Don't tell me the math. I won't. Just tell me it's 100 minis. I'll buy them.
Also, the General's Handbook's coming out, so we can find out how deep the points reduction rabbit hole goes for some armies. That will be $35, same price as 2017. And also maybe new allies. Not sure if they're going to change up the ally tables for each faction. That would be interesting to see. Now, something that we might see in 40K and it'd be interesting is a box set called Malign Sorcery, where they're introducing endless spells. Like they stay in play, they bounce around, they do things kind of like the old was it the vortex grenade would swirl around and kind of do things and maybe disappear.
One more time, Rob. How does it swirl around?
I'm using my hands to show you a rotating motion, first clockwise and then counterclockwise.
Rob, you're like a giant. You have large hands.
No, it's a perspective thing. See, my head's way back here.
I think it's called foreshortening or something like that.
I see what you did there.
My hands are not as big as my face juice. Come on. So anyways, we could see that in 40K. I don't know, but the box set is $75. It comes with quick reference guides, the spell book, and things like that. So the return to some big spells that you might have seen in the past, like Purple Sun and such. Very interesting.
What a powerful spell. The Dreaded 13.
Yeah, Dreaded 13 is coming back.
I don't know why I made a pirate sound referring to a rat.
Just Skaven.
Psychic ability, but it sounded kind of piratey.
It does. Then there's a bunch of just different accessories like objective markers for $35, very similar to what we saw on 40K already. Combat gauge for $15, wound counters for $12.50. Command and status dice, scenery dice, $20 each, and then the new technical paints, Hexwraith Flame, which is like a green glow, and I think Nighthawk Gloom, which is like a smoke, or I might have got them backwards. I don't know. Either way, they're coming out. And I'm sure we'll see some video how-to tutorials out here soon showing you how to use these new technical paints. Kenny loves them some technical paints.
I do. I have paint psychosis.
We all have our vices.
I'd say the only paints that I don't like that GW, because I like all paints. I talk a lot of shit on GW. But I like their paints, honestly. Like, they have a good line of paints. They have cool paint, like cool washes and glazes, cool tentacles. I'd say the only thing at the end of the day I don't use, period, is their gem effects. I did a review on them. They're okay. Like, I think the best thing for them is like if you got a bunch of like terrain that has like Imperial Sector shit, has like buttons and doodads on it. So that way you don't have to just dry brush that shit. You just drop some gem effect on it. But I'd say that's the only real product they make that I just can't find a reason to use outside of a review. But all that shit is good, man. They make good products. And they make the best paintbrushes in the game. Let's just be real about that.
Shut up.
I mean, they make the best like paintbrushes to like stir your paint in your airbrush with, is what I mean.
Oh, buster brushes.
Well, I mean, that's a very important role in my paintbrush lineup. Only a special brush can do that. Like a brush that's really good at just being bent and splayed all the time. Like that's a they got to design.
It can
that.
really get down
You're
into the
literally-
airbrush.
Is there a problem with bent and splayed?
No, it's a necessary.
It's the only brushes I own.
You only own GW brushes, and it's a necessary design for a brush to be able to do what I need with my airbrushing. So like, I'm all about.
I'm here to tell you guys this. Okay. I went to a tournament here recently and won some few dollars, bought some people some things because I don't ever care to literally do anything with those dollars. And I was like, you know what I'm going to get myself this time? I'm going to buy myself a paintbrush. I have here an Army painter, insane detail. I just grabbed one and I said, I'll take this one. So glad I picked this one. I swear it only has got like six little hairs on it. And I have just edged, highlighted, and dotted some eyeballs better than I've ever have in my painting.
Jeez, did you just edge highlight your first Tyranid?
Thank you very much, Kenny. I have edged highlighted my first Tyranid in about 22,000 points without lying. And I'm like, wow, why is that line so crisp? Why don't I have to go over with black paint to get those random other paint marks off or like just quit after it? Or I mean, this is unbelievable what happens when you use a small brush.
They grow up so fast.
Jeez, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I don't know. Yeah. I wish everybody who's driving and listening or painting and listening could see my all-around brush. And I'm not going to lie to you. I am not exaggerating one bit. I've used this. I actually think it was a GW brush. Who was the ones that had the red handles back in the day?
GW.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a GW brush. It was probably somewhere along their medium size. Okay. I use that brush. I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating. Right hand to God. I used that brush. I painted. But when I sold my first NID collection, because I was so mad at 5th edition, I think I ranged in at like 18,000 points that I all painted myself. Plus to base them, right? I painted about 10,000 points of demons and base them with that pumice. Is that what that stuff's called? Where you like, It's real thick and sandy, then it dries hard. Okay. I did that. It was to the point I was clipping, no lie, I promise, guys. It was like fraying. It looked like old eyelashes that like women would put in, like they were all coming out and I'm clipping them. I would paint eyeballs. If I ever thought frisky enough to paint an eyeball, I would pick the brush up sideways, put paint on the little frizzles that were coming off the side of it. I'm telling you, I swear to God, I'm not lying. And I would try to paint an eyeball that way because I own one brush. That one GW brush. I'm here to tell you, I want to do a tutorial on durability because that damn GW brush, I put it through the ringers.
The juice durability test.
There it is. If you want to do it all. True story. Moving right along. Sorry, guys.
So we do have a new FAQ, believe it or not. It's
Rob, what's new in the FAQ?
I believe that they ruled against Agents of Vect.
No. This is a Harlequins, sir. Let's see. For Ack, where'd it go? There it is. There we go. I don't know why I like updated here. All right. So how does Riddlesmith's mask form interact with abilities that generate additional attacks? If a unit has the ability to generate additional attacks on a roll that exactly matches the result of the Riddlesmith's roll, the extra attack is generated. Because remember, I think they have a thing where you roll a dice and any of those numbers that you used to hit are disregarded. I think Phil was doing it to Juice a lot. And
that was bringing command points back.
No,
maybe no. It was he was doing it as a CP regeneration.
Oh, that's right. It was.
If I was using a 1 CP stratagem, he needed to roll a 1. He got it back.
Yeah, that actually wasn't that bad. I like that mechanic. Note the original attack it misses, and the hit roll for the extra attack also matches. It also misses. So just kind of little stuff in here. There's only 4 points, so we're just running it down real quick. If a unit falls back with the intention of embarking at the end of their move, can Shegarak's Jest stratagem be used against the unit after it has moved within range of the transport, but before it embarks? And the answer is yes. I think that's where it allows it extra movement. I'll have to look that one up. Question: if an example is made, stratagem is used on a Shadow Seer, does it work with the hallucinogen grenade launcher? The answer is yes. And when a Soaring Sport Warlord uses a Sky Strider Warlord trait to disembark after the transport moves, can the Warlord then move normally as well? And the answer is yes. However, if it moved in the Psychic phase as a result of the Twilight Pathway Psychic power, cannot disembark after that move. So a little bit of a clarification of what air quotes a move is for words. They actually clarified a lot of that in the Age of Sigmar 2.0 rules, which is kind of interesting to see them making very similar rulings in 40K right now, which I thought was pretty interesting. So that's it. That's all that's new in the FAQ. Still waiting on a Knights one, because a lot of people like to outflank Knights right now.
Still waiting on outflanking Knights.
Shout out to Phil from Dark Bunny Creatives. What an amazing game. I have dubbed him, unless you guys disagree, he is our Harlequin expert.
We do have a new battle report on the longwar.net on the Hall of Veterans at this exact moment, featuring Phil's new Harlequins versus Juice, running some Imperial shenanigans. It's a solid watch. Recommend it to anyone. But let's do one more point of interest before we jump into a commercial break. This is something that's really important to Rob. He's been doing a lot of research, compiling a lot of data on this. Forge World Knight problems. That's what we're naming it. Rob, what you got from us for us on this subject?
Well, I think we can all agree that the Forge World Knights are just dope looking. And when they rolled those out shortly in 2013, after the original Knight came out, they were just like the coolest thing ever. And now we have so many different plastic Knights out there that's like, oh yeah, there's these other Knights too. I remember those. How do they work? And now we go back and we take a look and we're just like, wait a minute, this doesn't even work. Like, it's blowing my mind. So the big question is going to be, when is Forge World going to announce some sort of FAQ update or something like that? It may be in the second half of the year, after the predetermined date. I guess it's September or something, to update things and add things to FAQ. Maybe they'll put something out sooner to allow them to be played. But as it stands right now, the problem with taking Knights from the Imperial Armor Index book is that they lack the Imperial Knight keyword, which locks them into several different things, several stratagems right off the bat. You cannot play on them because they don't have that. It also messes up two different things: taking them in lances and getting the benefits of a character and having a warlord. You can't do, because you have to have the Imperial Knight keyword and a super heavy.
And Rob, they never, and this was never addressed in Chapter Approved. They never got keywords in Chapter Approved or stratagems or anything?
Not that I saw for Forge World Knights. No, I looked up all the FAQs themselves, but in Chapter Approved, I don't even think they addressed them, but I will definitely hit that at the commercial break just to make sure.
I wouldn't know. I don't even look at that section.
So there's a thing with the lances there. So you can't take, you basically don't get command benefits or anything like that. We know how that works. You have to take 3 either Dominus or Questoris classes. As far as the household traditions go, you got to have the Imperial Knight keyword as well to get like those dope abilities with, like say House Raven, that you get to advance and still shoot your heavy weapons as assault weapons. You can't do any of that, even though you could be House Raven, because they have the household brackets. You won't get the household traditions, which is kind of a kick in the balls too, because now you're like, well, what's the point of taking these if I don't get the cool stuff from the book? I only get some of the cool stuff from the book. It's kind of interesting. We can break down some of the good points on one of the nights that I personally like that I think it has play if we get this stuff corrected.
No, absolutely. I mean, I have to think to myself, and I'm going to be on the side, if we're talking about speculating, I'm going to be on the side that I think GW lets this lie. I think that they have already proven that they have their own cool new knights. They just put out 2 new badass, cool looking big knights kits, and then they have the Omegar, the glaive, style, which is an amazing smaller knight. I have to admit, guys, I think I might be in the camp that they are going to leave this be. So before you tell us how cool your knight is, right? There's a couple of them that I'm just like, what are they going to do? Like, what are you going to do with the Lancer for almost 600 points, 550 points, right? Where he's not that good in close combat, comparatively speaking. He's okay. Even though, but his one of his things that he does is he's very fast and he gets in combat, and he has a random 6-shot gun, some random plasma. That is trash compared to a 350 point gallant, or because of the price decrease. So my thing is, what can GW actually do, or Forge World actually do, to make these Forge World Knights good? They aren't just. It's not. I don't believe that it's going to be enough to just open up them to houses or give them access to the relics. I believe that they're going to have to finagle their point cost and some other things. And that's just, I'm specifically referring, in my opinion, something like the Lancer is the first one that comes to my mind because I own that model. And so I know a little bit more about him versus, some of the other Knight Titans. Robbie B.
So you're saying that it would need a wholesale not just some sort of rules update, points change,
absolutely,
and also keyword adjustment. So you're talking an errata, an FAQ, and a points. You're literally talking the 3 things that they update the most. Actually.
Correct. To make them worth it, because what they've done to their own models. Okay, what they've done to their own models is they have dropped the Gallant. And I'm just using this as a quick example. They've also dropped the points of the Crusader and the Paladin because of the weapon profile. But so, for example, a Gallant is runnable at 350 points. So that Gallant got a price decrease. It got access to stratagems, warlord traits, relics. It got everything. So for only way to put these Forge World Knights in line, in my opinion, is to give them the same treatment. They're going to need the trifecta. They're going to need an errata, a points change, and potentially, a full overhaul. Robbie B, change my mind, please.
I don't think I can, to be honest. Like, I agree with you. It's just a question of timing now. Like, remember, we still have another plastic knight to come out, the Preceptor class, which is also a potentially a single box kit that will come with Canis Rex and the little pilot dude walking around, and then also the Preceptor class itself, just the generic Preceptor. So we still have a knight release to come out, whether that's some sort of timed release or something like that. Hard to say when that timing is going to be. So are they going to wait until August? I don't know.
Shame on you, GW, for putting 2 models that I truly like, Canis Wolfborn and Hector Rex. And you say to yourself, we're out of names. Let's put Canis Rex and Hector Rex together. Canis Trueborn, whatever his name is, together. Kenny, an app. Here it is. We're going to create an app for GW alone on name creation.
I already got the perfect idea. Like first name, last name, corresponding date of year you're born with. Like one of those classic Facebook name generators.
And then what we're going to do is once you use one of the 3, first name, last name, where you're at, like once you use one of them, we're going to put you to the bottom. We're going to have to go through a hell of a lot of names before you come back around. So
year that you graduated high school plus blah.
Your first pet's name.
Yeah. Like, and some people get some really unfortunate names like Leaky Cauldron, or
so you're telling me that Sloppity Bile Piper?
yeah, like exactly like that. Sloppity Bile Piper.
Sloppity Bile Piper is so funny. Leaky Cauldron, Sloppity Bile Piper. That's his cousin.
So yeah, no, I agree. I think that'll be something to definitely keep an eye out for. We can break down the. You already know what it is. I like the Atropos. For its points, it's clocking in cheaper than a Dominus class.
You saw that was the alcohol talking, didn't you? I was trying to keep it together. Don't say the word I try to bring it back. You know, that's what happens when you Azrable Vect someone, agents of Vect them, and you roll a 1.
Well,
that's my favorite.
I can forgive you for it. Actually, I don't. I forgot how many points he is. 485. What's the other one? He is Alaska. Oh, Gravitonic Singular Cannon. I mean,
yeah, I think the Atropos is ringing in at like 560, if I'm not mistaken. He's almost 600.
I knew it was like 50 less.
Yeah.
So we'll just go with that. So here's the Atropos. His weapon skill, ballistic skill is still 3, which is good. Very comparable to the Dominus class. He is his movement, however, is 14. So he moves as fast as the Armiger, which is hilarious. All the Sarasis have a long stride. His Las Cutter is a shooting attack at 9 inches. It's strength 10, neg 4, 6 damage straight. Of course, if it goes up against a vehicle or monster and you kill it, you get to immediately make another attack with a separate target within range. It doesn't generate further attacks. So for some of those people out there that play, ITC, where you try to leave lower strength units to try to pick them off later to get your 3, this might be kind of fun. Like, oh, let me get my 1 and my 2 maybe, or something like that. The Las Cutter can also be used in melee. It's strength 14, neg 4, 6 damage. You can reroll hits and wounds against targets with monster building or vehicle keywords. So very handy against a large percentage of targets that you're going to see out there. Remember, knights are vehicles, other knights. Then it comes with the Graviton Singularity Cannon at 36 inch. It's got 4 shots at a strength of 8, neg 3 AP with 3 damage coming through. It can, if you roll a 1, you suffer a mortal wound. On a 2 to 5, the attack is carried out normally, and on a 6, it's carried out at strength 16, neg 4, straight 6 damage. So it's no harpoon, but it's still pretty decent. And then, of course, he's got the Titanic feat.
No, these are a lot of good. I mean, this lance is good. Plus, I mean, that's straight 6. I'll take it. So he can shoot with it at a straight 6, then he can assault with it at a straight 6?
He can shoot with it at a strength 12 and assault with it at strength 14.
Damage, the straight 6.
Yeah, straight 6, neg 4s.
That's solid.
Hitting on 3s.
So
now, here's the key. He's 27 wounds.
Yep. And give him some of the other special, give him some of the other special abilities that he has with regeneration and whatnot.
So on a 5-up, he gets a wound back every turn. That's going to happen. He explodes on a 6-up within 2d6. Everything suffers d6 mortal wounds. Where have we heard that before? He also has the flank speed, so you roll 2d6 to determine the maximum distance when you're making advance rolls. But he has a 4-up invulnerable save naturally against shooting attacks with his Ionic Flare Shield.
So this is where we're at with why a lot of people, and I'm sure Rob, you're feeling the same thing of why they really like the Atropos, is because he is one of these specialty knights that is a badass mofo that doesn't need a warlord trait or need anything else to get a 4-up invulnerable. So if you're telling me, Kenny, that this guy can be followed under the exact rules that we have right now.
So this is the Forge World guy that currently is not an Imperial Knight keyword?
Yes.
Correct.
So if he was Imperial Knight keyword, for just one stratagem, he's 3-up invulnerable, no warlord trait needed, nothing.
Yes.
Correct.
If he could get a warlord trait, he would have a 2-up invulnerable save.
Well, I think when you rotate Ion Shields, it says down to a 3. Yeah.
No, but even better, that means he could take the warlord trait that lets you discard 1, 2, and 3 on wound rolls. You could take that and have a 3-up invulnerable. So basically, anything strength 9 and above, has to win them on 4s instead of 3s. So like you're like basically all your best guns suck against me.
And he comes with free regeneration, getting a wound back every turn. That is very big.
Oh yeah, he would be the best one if he can take if he's Imperial Knight keyword. He's the best one, 100%.
He doesn't have all the little weapons that the other ones does.
I don't care, dog. He goes 14 inches. He can shoot his lance, his plasma cutter thing. He shoots it, does 6 damage to something, and let's say you do it smart, where like your little baby knights whittle it down to, like, so this is a rhino. You do 4 wounds on the rhino. He kills it. He gets to go again, do 6 more wounds on another rhino, and then you finish that rhino off. You know what I mean? Like it's like, and then he can charge and do it again.
Yeah.
You get a free kill every time. Like it's really good.
Yeah, if you game it, it's definitely worthwhile. I don't think he'll need a point reduction. Oh, and he gets +1 to hit against targets with Titanic keyword. So against the mirror match, or
he'll fuck another knight up in close combat.
Yeah,
he will anti-knight the shit out of your knight. Like,
and it's a very cool kit too. We've featured them several times on the battle report. So he's kind of my pick for, hey, this guy's almost playable right now. You could get him down to a 3-up if you had Imperial Knight. But again,
what's so funny too, to make bring it full circle, is that the Atropos was potentially on the outside looking in 7th and 6th edition when people were running Lancers. What was the Flame Knight? What's that guy? The Acreon. Yep. And the other one that has the double Gatling cannon, assault cannon in one.
Cascadator.
There it is, the Cascadator. It was those 3 knights were the front runners. I can't tell you how many Lancers I played against and how many Acherons I played against with that Flamer and everything. And that Atropos would always be like, nah, you're too expensive. You're not as good, And now in current 8th edition, he is the front runner of all the Forge World Knights. I agree. What you just showcased, Robbie B, is a 10.
Yeah, no, like he goes up against old Ahab. He's like, I have a 3 vulnerable against your harpoon, and your harpoon needs a 4 to wound me. Because like, he would take the warlord trait to make it so it has to win him, so it doesn't win him on a 3. He's like, suddenly you're like, damn, this harpoon is like a fucking bolter round. You know what I mean? And he still has a 3-up invulnerable, and he still gets, and he'll be able to use a command point to reroll it. Like, and then this dude just jumps into close combat with you and just tears you to pieces. Yeah, yep. So he would be solid. If he, I can see Juice's point a little bit at least. Like this guy would need a straight overhaul if he's gonna fall in line with these other dudes. Because right now you said he doesn't have Imperial Knight keyword.
Nope, none of them do.
So we'll see how the cookie crumbles on that shit. But like if that dude gets Imperial Knight keyword, that is the official knight. That's like
get your Atroposes ready.
Because you said how many points did you say it was decked out with everything you just said?
565.
Yeah, he's in the 560 area.
So he's like 50 points cheaper than old Ahab.
Yeah,
and he has special rules that old Ahab doesn't have. He doesn't have a harpoon, but
But he does sort of. He has a 2-shot straight 6 weapon that. If you just a little bit of cleverness, it's like here's 6 damage, here's 6 damage, just kill 2 fucking things. Like that's pretty nasty, man. And he moves.
Well, I guess the other thing is he doesn't have the flamer that old Ahab has.
Doesn't, but he does have the. He doesn't, but he does. But he's even harder to kill than old Ahab because he gets the warlord trait and the 3 of invulnerable. If in this world where you get the keyword that you currently don't have, he'd be I'll take that extra resiliency, and he has extra wounds, and he gets wounds back. You know what I'm saying? And he moves. How many inches natural does he move, Rob?
He has long strider. Yeah, absolutely. And so you're telling me this cat gets access to some of the house where you get to add 2 inches to your charge and advance rolls?
Yeah,
and then you use the stratagem. Yeah, and you take the stratagem on him so he can charge and advance. Isn't that the stratagem that they have access to?
That's their household trait, I think, or their household tradition.
Oh. So you can't have both?
Determine the distance that this household advances and charges, roll an extra D6 and discard the lowest.
Isn't there a stratagem that allows you to advance and charge?
Full tilt. Yeah. Choose an Imperial Knights vehicle from your army that advance. This model can declare a charge even though it advanced this turn.
He currently
Yeah,
doesn't.
so-
He currently doesn't have access to that. But
Nope.
if he did have access to it, bleh.
So he already moves his ridiculous speed. Plus he has Long Strider, right? So he gets to roll 3d6, take the highest. Now he gets this household where he gets to add 2 inches to the charge and 2 inches to the advance. So take his base move, add 4, roll 5d6 and pick the 3 highest. You know, in layman's terms,
It's a problem.
that's a problem.
Old Ahab ain't happy about this. It's tight.
Yeah. It could definitely be a thing. But yeah, I'm excited to see it because these knights look so fresh.
I mean, it's good to know. Currently, by our rules scavenging, they don't seem to appear to have the Imperial Knight keyword. It could be wrong, but we've been known to be wrong.
Well, a million
with that.
people haven't told us we're wrong in chat. So
Usually
I
they
feel
tell
like-
us.
Yeah.
So look, we're going to take a commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about AOS and the biggest changes. AOS 2.0. Finally, the Long War swag is here. LongWarSwag.com, the official home of Long War merchandise. We've got a range of merchandise exclusive to the Long War brand, Next Level Painting, and Spikey Bits. Definitely log in today while supplies lasts. Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com. elricshobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elric's Hobbies. elricshobbies.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
And we're back. Robbie B, drop some knowledge bombs.
Yo, what army do you play in Age of Sigmar?
Oryx.
You said it wrong.
Oryx.
There you go.
I don't know how to talk like a soccer hooligan from fucking Europe, whatever.
You think that's what they're going for?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Basically,
Well-
people who have that accent, they just say it. They don't. It just is like the literal, the phonic pronunciation of the way it's spelled. So it actually doesn't change it. Just ask somebody in the UK to say orcs. They're like orcs. Like that's how they say it.
I actually don't know how many there are, but I've jotted down some of the biggest changes I think to Age of Sigmar and maybe how they could apply or port them over to 40K. I kind of like what they're doing with some of this. Obviously, the big change, well, besides the turn thing, which everybody probably knows about right now, you roll off at the end of every battle round, and whoever's the winner gets to choose who goes first in the next battle round. Now it's whoever, if you tie, whoever went first gets to choose. So there's a chance if you went first that you won't get what they call double turn.
You won't get got.
Right. I think we did the math on it. It was all gluten-free gut check math. So I think we got it right.
Yeah. So in all reality, it seems as if. So what this means is when you're the controlling player one, it is harder for you, as Robbie B said, for the player two to get back-to-back turns. Where when there is a tie, the owning player one gets it. So that means when I roll a 4 and you roll a 4, it's a 50-50 roll for me to beat you, right? So it's a 17% chance that you and I will roll the same number. Is that right? Or is that a 1 in 36% chance that you and I will roll
1
the
in
same
36
number?
that we roll the same number.
Yeah, so it's
Oh.
actually it's a 50% chance followed by a 1 in Yeah, but how many times does that happen? It feels like it's like a 1 in 36% chance that I will get to pick the.
But that's why I'm saying, that's why I've been talking about 40K with like, everyone's like, everyone's like, plus one to go first means I go first. I was like, if we roll the same number, 1 in 36 times are we going to roll the same number, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that the math? If you to roll the same number as somebody else is 1 in 36.
For me to roll snake eyes, it's a 1 in 36.
Or is it 1 in 6? Or is it just 1 in 6? I don't know. Actually, I think no,
it's a 1 in 36.
No, is it one in 36 to roll a dice and then roll the same dice? I think that's 1 in 36. I think rolling 2 dice and having be the same as 1 in 6.
Just any one number is 1 in 6.
No, it's a 1 in 36.
On one die.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 36. You
no. If I roll a 4, now you have for you to now roll a 4 is 1 in 6. That's why it's a 1 in 6 in this situation.
They're rolled at the same time. That's why I'd say it's 1 in 36.
That's true too. I mean, that's why it's weird. That's why I've always my gut has always told me it's basically 1 in 36.
Yeah, no, I think that's where we're at.
Either way, it's slightly better for the person who went first. They may not get double turned. So I'm not sure. I haven't actually tried it, so I can't report in and tell you if.
Here it is. No, that's right, because there are 6 double possibilities. That's why it's 1 in 6.
Oh, that is true.
So that's why it's 1 in 36 juice for you to like roll a 1 and then roll another 1 right after it, right?
Right, but you could roll a 3 and a 3 and a 2 and a 2.
I think that's why, or is it just always 1 in 6? Like I don't know.
I'm gonna argue that point that it's 1 in 36 because if you initiate that a 2 is rolled and I have to tie that, now it's a 1 in 36 chance that you rolled a 2 and then I would also roll a 2. But again, we don't know what that roll is because they're both rolled at the same time.
Is not knowing what's gonna, but there's 2 dice, so it's doubled up, right?
You're basically rolling doubles. Double odds and doubles on 2 dice.
For me, for me, just to say, you have to roll a 2 to win right now. You have a 1 in 36 chance. I mean, you have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling a 2. So that's why it's 1 in 6. You have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling that number. So obviously, that's why statistically speaking, statistics are weird, like especially with dice.
It's definitely a strange mechanic.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say it doesn't matter. What, like, basically it's such a slight thing. It's so 1 in 6 times does this come up when normally it's a 50-50. So a lot of people are like, that means I go first. I have less units in my army. I get +1 to go first. I always go first. I'm like, you only go first, guaranteed 1 in 6 times. The rest of the time, it's 50% of the time.
Either way, it's better odds. I think we can agree on that. I don't know exactly what they are. I'm not a mathologist.
If it's 1 in 6, it's 17% chance.
That's true.
But then, can you seize the initiative in Age of Sigmar?
No, you cannot.
Not per turn.
So in 40K, you can seize the initiative, and the only time this happens is in the first turn. So if you have a 17% chance or a 1 in 6 chance to roll a 6, right, and to seize the initiative, and you have a 1 in 6 chance to roll the same number as me, the percentage of increase you got to go first is canceled out by my same ability to steal it back from you. But in Age of Sigmar, rest assured, knowing that you're never going to get double turned on because you have 17% more chance to.
Oh yeah,
all right.
Totally.
Normally we don't bring in the chat too much, but Eve, I have to admit, you almost had me sold. I'm reading this and I'm rolling dice. But you lost me when it says it changes the math to having a 50% chance to having a 63. And then you're like, nope, sorry, 58. It's like, no. If we tie, that means, again, the pips, each pip is worth 17% chance. So it changes the math from 50 to
68.
67% chance and a 33% chance on the other way. So I don't know. I'm going to have to roll these dice. I'm going to sit here for the remainder of the show.
Stan Pickerton nailed it. He figured it out. 33% of the time it works 66% of the time.
That's actually math. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
All right, 5 minutes later. No, that's fine. Either way, it's better odds. So no more of that base overlapping thing. You measure base to base. That was just silly. I don't know why they did that. Thank God for that, because do not put your unpainted miniatures on my painted snowy bases from Elric's Hobbies. I don't want any of that. What's up next? So something different in Age of Sigmar. You can choose your general, and once he's slain, you pick another one from your army to become your general, and you generate abilities and such. They're not called warlord traits, but you get the idea. A little bit different from 40k, which is pretty interesting. The command abilities, stuff you do at the start of the game, things like that you would normally play stratagems for, which require command points. Now in Age of Sigmar, require command points, 1 command point to play. So you've got a little bit more flexibility. You get command points. You can actually buy a command point for 50 army construction points, we'll call them. Like, instead of taking a unit, you spend 50 points and get a command point if you want. You also get them for taking battalions, which also unlock relics and things for heroes. That's standard. It's this new command point mechanic that's interesting. So you got one where you auto run your 6 inches, runs advance in Sigmar. You can reroll charge distances for somebody within 6 of a hero or 12 of your general. General's your warlord in Age of Sigmar. And then you can just make it so somebody's immune to morale, which is called battle shock. So that's kind of a little bit more of a change. You used to only be able to do the inspiring presence, make them immune to battle shock before. They specifically address movement in Age of Sigmar, which may happen to 40k. They say, hey, movement happens in a move phase, a charge phase, and a combat phase. And the combat phase is called pylons. In the charge phase, it's your charge move. And in your move phase, it's called a normal move. And I've already seen a couple of instances where they address that specifically. They call it like tagging, I think it's called. So that's something to be aware of that we might see in 40k in the near future if they ever do a 2nd edition and not 2nd edition to the codex. Because I can tell you right now that I said there would be a 2nd edition thing. They flipped the script by rebooting Sigmar rules and not doing it codex wise, but they're updating the codexes through the General's Handbook. So they already have all these mechanisms in place in 40k. If you think about it, they could do the same exact thing at any point 3 years from now. So who knows? So I like the clarifications to move. Running equals advancing. We already talked about that. Those are big things. Cover works a little bit different in Age of Sigmar. What do you guys think about this? So you get +1 to your save if you're wholly within or on a terrain feature. At any point, you get a cover save, +1 to your save, unless you are a unit that charged that turn.
So close combat, you get the cover save if you're in close combat, but not if you charged. If you're the guy who charged.
Right.
So you tell me like a unit of Terminators standing in a forest have a 1-up save in close combat? Like if it was 40k in 40k, I'm like
in 40k, not a lot of things have a 2-up save in Sigmar.
Instantly makes me think differently about certain units if it was a 40k rule.
Yeah, not very many. I mean, I think that it's good, but Rob, does that mean that people are going to take terrain serious in Age of Sigmar?
Well,
because it has meant really nothing. It has meant less than nothing up until now.
That's true. A lot of times you didn't want to be in terrain because you wanted to be up there engaging and trying to get objectives and things. Now, not only can you be in terrain and get cover, but you can also garrison your troops in buildings that have that ability. And that actually makes them -1 to hit. It gives them extra ability. So this is
a straight defender mechanic. Like,
yes,
you're defending this, you have an advantage. That's pretty strong.
But theoretically too, if you haven't charged in and you're fighting combats, you would still, both sides would get the cover save as well.
But now would I get as much in this scenario if it's in this scenario? I just didn't know here.
It depends if you're the charger or if you're there.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know.
Makes sense.
We'll have to get FAQ on that.
Hand signal FAQ coming in.
Yes.
You would only get that joke if you're watching us live.
I'm very visual with my hands. I'm not going to stop. I have a stupid face and I use my hands. There it is. You heard it here first.
I didn't say anything. But
I knew you were thinking it.
I wasn't. I was like, the Bible says that's wrong.
I want you guys to know I have had 2 dice in front of me and I've rolled them 1 million times back to back. Eve might be right. I have rolled more doubles than I feel like I've rolled sets of 36 dice. I don't know.
If only we had a way to record these dice rolls that you're doing.
I'll keep you posted.
In a tally format. Unbinding spells, it goes out to 30 inches now, and you'll still have to beat it to not get the spell off. I almost said it the wrong way there. Arcane Bolt is the smite version in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Now it goes off on a 5 within 18 inches. To pick a unit, it just suffers 1 mortal wound instead of D3. And then tell me if you've heard this before, but if the casting roll was over 10, it suffers D3 mortal wounds instead.
So it's less good smite, but does it target anybody you want? The Arcane Bolt. So I mean, it's pretty good. It's not a shooting game. It's not like 40K, so like it makes sense to be scaled down. Also, AOS lets you spill damage over period into units, right?
I actually haven't found that quite yet. Mortal wounds still say.
Well, like I mean, in that game system, like if you did D6 damage to a unit of like guys with multiple wounds, like it spills into all of them, right? In AOS, it's not like 40K where you're like this attack does D6. My guy has 2 wounds. The most you can do with 1 attack is kill the 1 guy.
That is how it used to work. Let's double check.
Because that'd be interesting to know. Because like, 40K, like it'd be a problem. Like 12 last cannons would just take out, 30 guys.
Everyone.
Literally an entire squad of like 40 cultists. That'd be
Each
crazy.
successful attack inflicts damage on the target unit equal to the damage characteristic of the weapon making the attack. Most weapons have a damage characteristic of 1, but some have of 2 or more, allocating wounds. Allocated 1 at a time to models in the target unit. You can allocate inflicted as you see fit. However, if you allocate a wound to a model, you must keep allocating wounds to that model until it is slain. A unit can never have more than 1 wounded model. And then it talks about negating mortal wounds and like stuff like disgustingly resilient.
Yeah, so yeah.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, that's what you just read. You read that it spills over, you keep allocating until they're dead.
Yeah, you do definitely allocate 1 at a time to models in the target unit. It doesn't say it stops or anything like that.
Allocating damage until they're dead, right? Like in 40K, you allocate attacks.
Right. Yep, I'm pretty sure.
Like I remember that being a huge difference between the two game systems when it first dropped. I remember like playing a little AOS and like doing the battle reports. I was like, well, because it does work. It's kind of jarring at first in 40K when you're like, all right, here's 4 last cannons shooting 3 Nurglings. Each Nurgling has 4 wounds. You got 3 hits. You did 3 wounds. I have to go 1 by 1. Okay, 1 save failed. Now roll your D6 damage. 3. Nurgling base still alive. Roll a second one. Failed it again. Now you roll 6 damage. That 1 base takes 9 wounds. The next guy doesn't take any. So there's always a procedure in 40K, right? Otherwise, 4 last cannons, could potentially kill everything. But so in 40K, it's because we have like laser guns and we have plasma guns, and you don't want to like, hey, like, dog, you shoot laser cannons at tanks, not at dudes. Like, please.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
And in AOS, you have like giant ballistas, crossbows, and fucking cannonballs and shit. It's things designed to kill more than 1 person.
You can also do things. You get a scenery table where crazy stuff can happen to anything around it. So there's a cost benefit analysis to, hey, I might get a +1, but some things like this. If you start within an inch of a damned terrain feature, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, but you can reroll hits of 1 for it until the end of your next hero phase. So I'm like,
how do you get those terrain features? Just for free, or?
So you roll. There's a table. When you set up terrain for a battle, you and your opponent can agree to give each terrain feature 1 of the scenery rules from the scenery table on the right. Either pick a scenery rule for each terrain feature or roll a dice for each terrain feature to randomly determine a rule. If a war scroll is available for a terrain feature, you can use the rules on the war scroll instead of using it from the scenery table. And there's 6. And it also says for every 2x2 square, you should have at least 1 piece of terrain. So in theory, you'll have you can make 6 rolls, I guess.
Look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. So you want to know why I'm going to say this? I'm going to say that's a stupid rule and nobody's ever going to use it. Kenny, do you have any idea why I'd say that? Do you remember 6th and 7th edition?
You're not a hypocrite.
Because we all used to say, oh my God, Skyfire, no one ever has Skyfire. Well, if we actually just played by GW's rules, 1 in 6 chance that every objective that we ever went to would have Skyfire, mysterious terrain and mysterious objectives. It was shunned in 40K. No one ever played it. It was a waste of time. I have to have that same passionate hatred for mysterious, cool objectives that Age of Sigmar has.
Yeah, no, that's the truth, man. When I first started playing 6th edition, I was like, yo, mysterious objectives are crazy. Then nobody can charge near this one. I can shoot airplanes with this one. And then every time I played 1,000 tournaments and we never used them.
Yep, you're not wrong. Nobody ever used it. True story. What is this? Probably more things I should read. Now, this is an interesting mechanic. Let me read this to you. Other abilities that can be used during a phase.
Exciting rule. That's an exciting rule for sure.
Yeah, it's super good.
Seems really good.
Well, I thought this was something else, and now I'm trying to see if it matters. Nope. Wait.
Doesn't matter. Confirmed. Rob, you're such a professional.
Consummate professionalism.
I think this is where we insert flawless victory.
Flawless. Hey, I'll just say, if you guys see what I do with the time I have, you'll be amazed at what I even have to talk about sometimes.
Do you beat it?
Oh, this is a good mechanic. If a unit has an ability that affects friendly units that are within a certain distance of it, then the ability will also affect the unit itself. Very specific. We haven't seen that in 40K yet, specifically.
Friend or foe?
Right. I like that. Oh, here's the thing I thought I was just reading. Pre-battle abilities. Let me read this to you. Some war scrolls allow you to set up an ability after setup is complete or before the battle begins. These abilities are used before the first battle round. If both armies have abilities like this, roll off, and the winner can choose which player must use all of their pre-battle abilities first.
I don't like
That's
it.
That is so. I mean, you're right, Kenny. I actually don't know where to put that at. Is that amazing? Is that not good? Like, I feel like that just puts so much more power in the person who goes first.
I think we play a game of alternating. We should always alternate, even if we both have something at the same time before the game has started. We should fucking alternate.
And that's what we're all used to. Hey, Rob, is there like infiltrators?
Some things allow you to set up similar to, like, say how scouts set up and such. They'll say it on their war scroll.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You paid up on that van?
Wow, that is powerful.
Some Ricky Bobby quotes in the chat.
It's just a few. So how the battalion bonuses work, and this is kind of like, I guess you could kind of say this is the detachment comparison, even though it's more like formations from 7th edition. You get 1 command point at the start of the battle for each War Scroll battalion included in your army. And each War Scroll battalion will have like a certain number of units you have to take. And for what benefit you get, sometimes they cost in-game army points. But the benefit is that you'll get a command point and you'll also be able to take a relic for free, in addition to anything else that you would get for your army. So you pay points, you get benefits, you also get special rules benefits for your army as well, which is kind of
these are like formations.
Yeah, they're more like formations than detachments. Detachments really don't exist except for the fact that there's the keyword thing. Like if you're playing, say, Caradon Overlords, which are the Sky Pirate Dwarfs, then you could also play them as allegiance or alliance order and mix in fire slayers or something like that, which are the dwarfs, the berserker looking dwarfs.
Yeah, you're unlocking cool formations with cool new rules.
Yeah.
I like it.
So there's different ways to do things. There is a roll-off mechanic for what realm of battle you play in, and that determines special magic power, special magic benefits.
You mean if we can't decide on which realm, we have to roll off?
Yes, if you can't decide.
So you mean we both are like, I want to put your shit over there in the corner. We're just rolling off.
Yeah, you pretty much. I think that's what it's going to boil down to. Is like, I want to play. What is it, shish or something? I want to play in shish. And then
I want to jam your shit in the corner. And he's like, I don't want that. So we're rolling off.
He responds with shish.
But what's even stronger is the person that wins that roll gets to say what. Here we go. The person that wins that roll gets to roll on a D6 chart and apply the result to both players. So there's a D6 chart for something called Realmscape feature. In addition to that, there's also a special spell that can pop off in that realm. So if you don't have a caster in your army, then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you're always playing in one of the 7 realms and they have a magical property that will benefit you, perhaps. So they kind of pigeonholing us into taking casters, I guess.
Seems like one more thing I'm going to forget every fucking game.
Fact. I was just getting ready to ask is I wonder what the competitive community is going to do with some of these rules. Are we talking about stuff that already doesn't have play?
It's really hard to say.
Because this is a lot of damn charts and a lot of stuff. I mean, like
it is a lot of charts. It's a lot of pregame. You've got command abilities.
Yeah, remember the Warp Storm chart for demons?
Oh dear God.
You want to talk about how many times that shit got forgotten about in a game? Like, damn, dog, get some less charts.
Yeah, I think we've learned that throughout the years. But GW is almost kind of backtracking because they're bringing back a lot. They're bringing back ridiculous amounts of charts and potentially giving people free summoning. Doesn't cost points.
Yeah, that is going to be really interesting to see. To see how that one plays out for sure, because a lot of people are upset about paying reinforcement points.
No, it's true. Reinforcement points are bullshit. When you're used to like, I want to be able to summon these units. Basically, my answer is don't give me a rule to summon units if your answer is I have to pay for them anyway, because I'll just buy the fucking unit. So either just don't include a rule like that or don't make me pay for it. Like,
yes, and make sure that you've got your clarification tight, because I believe that what they're trying to say is what they meant was something like a doom bell, right? Or the screaming bell for Skaven. You rolled 2d6, right? And you applied the chart to see what happened. If you rolled boxcars and some things got a +1. So if you equaled and your roll was 13, you got a free ridiculous character, right? For free. You got to summon a unit. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? There's only a 1 in 36 chance, or is it, Kenny, a 1 in 6 chance that you roll
1 in 6
or 2?
If it's me, always 1 in 6, Brian.
There it is. So there's a chance that you get this or not. But as the rules are written right now, before second edition comes out, even if I rolled on that chart and I got that result, I didn't get that, even though it was random. But because I didn't put points aside to create that model, even though it was a random chart, a ridiculously random chart.
I agree with you. That's the issue, is like the fact that there is situations where you don't pay and situations where you do pay. Yeah. Like, I would say take away the things that let you spam in new units. And the only thing you should pay is command point. We should be paying resource to make new units, not psychic powers to make new units. Not like, let me just bang this 3+ out to make new units. I'm talking like I got to invest in unreturnable resource to get new units. Asante said, Titan Traders should cost reinforcement points. And I think he's trolling me because he also put a smiley face. Asante, I agree with you. If Titan Traders worked, even if the unit was destroyed. If you're telling me at some point in the game I can bring 40 of my dudes in from any board edge and it costs reinforcement points, I would gladly pay 160. I would put 160 points aside of my army. But the fact that you can kill the whole unit and it doesn't go off, no. But I would actually prefer it the way you're preaching it. If it was, I would be happier with that. Like, because then I know no matter what, I get to just show up wherever the fuck I want with them, no matter what you do against me.
And guess what, Kenny? You'd be able to use, if you paid enough for 40 models, you'd be able to reinforce 19 from this unit.
Yeah.
The next turn you'd be able to reinforce 20 from this unit, or 5 from this unit.
It's so much worse.
It would be a different play.
It's so much worse. I would literally put 200 points of reinforcement points in my army to play this fucking command point every fucking turn. And it just keeps showing back up. But I just don't think we should pay any reinforcement points, honestly, for anything. And the only thing you spend is CPs, like I said. I know we were talking about AOS, and we've been going on for over an hour. Rob, can we wrap this up so we can get out of here? Rob is just looking at his book.
I was trying to find the one thing. I can't seem to find it. Okay. Shadow War in addition.
It's right there.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that was pretty much it. Just kind of talking about the realms and how they work. There's 7 different realms. They obviously have some pretty serious ramifications. Quick change to allies. 1 in 4 units can be allied. So it looks like they're taking away the 400 point restriction that you can have 400 points of allies. Now you can mix it up. Can't be the general, but other than that, it seems to be pretty straightforward. That's the basics until we get a good look at the Malign Sorcery book and the General's Handbook as well, which will have a lot more changes in it, I'm sure. So a lot of information coming our way. I'm glad we got to see this so far to get the gears turning, because 3 major books all coming out at once to change up the game. And a first major tournament 2 weeks later at ATCs.
Holla.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got.
Good job, Rob. Take us out of here.
So that's it from us tonight. Make sure you head on over to the longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.